And this is in the mainstream reporting on this incident, some of the only reporting on it, that there were 2 other suicides involving this, and we have still never, it could be why I found 2 handguns in a desk drawer that shouldn't have been there. I don't know.
Man, this whole thing is insane. Why was it that you reached out originally and wanted to tell the Borderland audience this story?
Well, because you've got a really, really good pulse on the cartel and what's going on in our country. You got a really good pulse on the cartel and what's going on along the United States-Mexico border. There's nobody that I'm going to go to from any other news outlet that are going to have the resources and the knowledge that you do. So that's exactly why I reached out. And we've got some cartel arrests in our area that were red flags for me. You got Roberto Aldurte, who was arrested in our area right whenever this fraud started up in 2018. And his brother Luis was arrested because he got a hold of an informant here in Paducah, Kentucky, to buy grenade launchers and rifles, because he said it's wartime down here in Mexico. So that was actually in 2020. Luis was arrested, and he is a lieutenant to El Mencho. And let me circle back on something I forgot. Three victims that we identified. So when our investigation started, we started running these people and calling them. We're like, all right, they probably had knowledge, mark them off. They were taken on a run. Let's talk to them. So 2 of these folks, they live here locally. We asked them if we could meet up. They wanted to see what we had. We wanted to see what they had. So it was like kind of our own little personal discovery. So we went and met with them. We showed them all of the cattle feeding agreements, all of this stuff that we had found, and they had something to show us. They showed us photographs of cows that were stacked up as far as you could see. So somebody took a front loader or some heavy equipment. We're talking thousands of dead cows that are stacked up. I mean, it looks like it's so far back. There are cows, so many cows stack up and so far back. You'd think it's a forest, but it's dead cows. And these 2 victims of this fraud were told, if you talk about this, you're going to end up in that stack. And we saw the photos. I mean, I was jaw dropped. And I've got some audio from another victim of the fraud who he had told us, yeah, there's cartel involvement, and they cut off hands. And then he would not talk about it anymore.
Jeez almighty. Was there any other interference within the forensic audit or anything else in the investigation that you were running into?
Geez, there was a lot. So to answer that, we found out that for Brian McClain to have an adequate and appropriate heads up, there was somebody in the justice system that had to have tipped him off. And we identified that as being a local prosecutor. I don't want to get in now exactly to say who that is, but that's the only person it could have been.
Was there any kind of proof of that for the phone records or anything else, or just by way of knowing that they knew? There is. And, you know, I know you didn't want to say it. I can cut it out if you want to, but, you know, you have been, and your team has been intimidated by some individuals at some point. You guys were shot at recently?
Yes, I was shot at recently. A couple Sundays ago. My mother was visiting me that day.
Do you believe it's all because of this investigation?
Well, I don't know anybody else I've pissed off to this level, so I would think so.
What would you like to see out of this investigation? What is the goal in your continuing to investigate such a dangerous, corrupt story?
Oh, well, the goal would, I want to see this. I want to see this all the way through. I want to see the end. My partner and I, we started this thing and we want to finish this thing. And there would be I'm not patting myself on the back here, but there would be no computers. There would be no mass amount of signed cattle agreements had we not come across those things, properly secured them, because Vince, no law enforcement came up there. There was the police didn't secure any of this stuff. Excuse me. No law enforcement agency secured anything. So what we want to see is an investigation, whether that has to happen publicly through a media outlet that we go through and do it that way. We want to finish investigating this. We want to go down to Texas because there's another aspect of this that went on in Texas with McLean's 2 other cattle feeding locations. So we would love to be afforded the opportunity to go down there and to investigate this like we investigated it here in Kentucky and figure the rest of this thing out, because I absolutely know in my heart of hearts that there is so much more going on here.
Whew. Man,
and it hurts the community. It hurts the people that live on the border. I mean, that's the other aspect that people don't see. This money paid for sex trafficking. This money paid for drugs. This money paid for, I mean, what cartel money pays for. So, and it normally involves pain and suffering. And we want to see that shit stop.
Yeah, man. $2 billion in 5 years is a serious amount of money. And that's a serious, it takes a serious system, right, in place to be able to pull this off for as long as they have, under the noses of the local law enforcement and everyone else. I find the story fascinating. Was there a cartel that they believe this is connected to? I didn't get to ask that question.
Well, we had heard the CJ&G. That's what we had heard. That was what we were told, and I do believe that's probably true, but it seems that Rabobank doesn't discriminate against what it seems that the cartels may even be at war with each other, but for the banks, I'm sure it's like the military industrial complex or the prison industrial complex or these other things that they benefit from war. They benefit from it. So I'm sure that we've got 2 cartels that the bank doesn't mind keeping their money safe.
Man, what lessons should investors and law enforcement take away from this?
Oh, do your due diligence. Go and physically see what you're investing in. Look for red flags.